There is a fierce and a direct conflict taking place between Iran and Israel right now on the world stage, and the entire world is looking at it. We're joined by none other than Major General GD Bakshi, who will be telling us how things will unfold from here. Sir, welcome to Republic TV. I want to ask you, the world is looking at the Middle East right now, and the world is also looking at a possible retaliation by Israel after the Iranian missile attack. Can you war game it for us, sir? Can you just tell us what do you think will happen now and what will happen next?
Excellent. You see, the simple fact is what we are witnessing in the Middle East is a paradigm shift. So far, Israel and Iran were not in direct conflict. Iran was fighting the Israelis, what they call the Zionist entity, etc., through their proxies in the Middle East. That is the three H's, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, the Houthis, and the Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, right? They were trying to avoid a direct confrontation which could spiral out of control, right? But then the first strike that happened, the first direct clash between Iran and Israel happened in April this year, when the Israelis struck the embassy of Iran in Damascus, in Syria, which the Israelis, they struck to get the conglomerate of the leaders of the Quds force, of the, and the militias that they had. Iran said this is a direct attack on our sovereignty because an embassy is sovereign territory, right? And they said we will retaliate. But they retaliated in a manner that would not escalate out of control. There were clear back-channel talks. The Americans tried to dissuade them like hell. And then they warned the Americans. There were meetings between, Burns, the director of the CIA, and the Iranian representatives to try and tamp down the Iranian response. But the Iranians finally struck with 320 drones and ballistic missiles, 170 Shahid drones, 30 Pave cruise missiles, and 120 Shahab ballistic missiles, right? And it was a major blow.
Yes.
But they had given 48 hours to 72 hours advance notice. And they had said, we are going to hit your airfields, we are going to hit the 8200 intelligence gathering facility in the Golan Heights, right? And they hit all these. Now Israel has the densest and the best air defense system anywhere on this planet. They are linked directly to the American anti-ballistic missile base headquarters in Colorado, right? Through them, they can get the entire intelligence feed of the American satellites, hundreds of American reconnaissance satellites, which can pick up the IR flare of any rocket launch anywhere around the globe, right? And they can pass it on. They are also linked to their computational networks, which help them to calculate the trajectory of each missile and give you the launch point and sort of give you the early warning. In addition, don't forget, and this is important for us to understand, that the Americans have, sighted a number of their ANTPS Y2 over-the-horizon radars, which from the ground can pick up, the missile launches from all over the globe and zero in the response of the anti-ballistic missiles onto them, right? In addition, the Americans, the British, the French had deployed 200 fighters to help them shoot down the drones. Additionally, they had placed 2 Aegis class destroyer which have the over-the-horizon radars and which have the Patriot anti-ballistic missile.
Right.
So this is the densest air defense anywhere in the world. The Israeli air defense is layered. From the military standpoint, we must understand this. They have the Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 anti-ballistic missiles, right? Then they have the American Patriots and the THAAD anti-ballistic missiles. Then they have the David Sling medium-range missiles. And then they have the short range, the very famous, for the Iranians, infamous, Iron Dome. So it's a layered defense. Israel is just 27,000 square kilometers. It's a very compact country, therefore very easily to defend from the point of view of air defense and anti-ballistic missile defense.
But when you say that it's a very compact country, this compact country has created waves in the entire world with the kind of defense it has. And also, now that a few days back, we were talking about Nasrallah's assassination. The Israelis got him. Another, Hashim Saifuddin, was made the Hezbollah chief. They've got him as well. So now what everyone is looking at is who's going to be the next target? What is Israel going to do? Because do you think that the bigger retaliation is still yet to come?
Oh, yes. Let me just fill in the blanks a little bit there. So they were able to take care of that. 97% incoming Iranian projectiles in April were shot down. 97%. But the worrying part, which very few people gave attention to, was that 3 to 4% of the Shahab missiles with the heavier warheads did get through. 5 of them got through on the Nevatim Israeli airbase, and at the Ramon airbase they got through 5 to 7, which cratered the runway and which hit some of their storage facilities. This was blanked out, and everybody tried to say, hurrah, that we've done it. One of the reasons for the Americans trying to emphasize that, it was a dud, nothing really happened, was to see that Israel wouldn't respond very strongly then. And the Americans were able to put the brakes on Israel, and they just made a token response on one of the S-300 missile batteries. Now, what has happened since? Before we go on to prognosticate about the future, what has happened since? Israel has destroyed the Hamas. They have virtually decimated the Hamas organization. Their 5 brigades, they have been destroyed. Their leadership, more or less, has been neutralized. And the whole of the Gaza Strip is one big heap of rubble. Right? Next, they turned the center of gravity towards Hezbollah in the Lebanon. Right? And by a combination of intelligence operations, you see, you mentioned how they got Nasrallah.
Yes.
Top target, top leadership. So they went in for command and control attrition, right? They hit the top 7 leaders of the Hezbollah, right? And with a series of, they hit them with bunker bursting bombs, 80 tons of bunker bursting bombs to make sure that there was no chance of survival. Yes. Not a bit of chance of survival. They killed Hassan Nasrallah. Then they started preemptive attacks on the rocket launching sites, on the missile launching sites of the Hezbollah. Before they could fire them, they sort of attacked them and destroyed a large proportion of them. So with this massive barrage of airstrikes and very accurate, amazingly effective intelligence operation, to include on 17th and 18th September, the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie attacks, which killed 35 and wounded 3,000 of the top leadership and communication people. Those who were handling the pagers, those who were handling the walkie-talkies had their eyes blown out, half the faces blown out. So you were able to totally blank out the Hezbollah communications, create chaos and demoralization in that organization, right? And that is the time that the Hezbollah started crying to Iran, ki you are supposed to be mere aaka, mere ko bachao. It was as simple as that you are letting us get destroyed. And the Hezbollah, we were hoping, we were anticipating that they would react very strongly. They have 150,000 rockets, guided, unguided, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles. So we thought they would fire 1,000, 1,500 a day. That was the military anticipation. But they just fired 200 to 300 rounds a day. They were curiously restrained. And the reason is not far to seek. Their communication network, their command and control apparatus had been ruined, destroyed. Nistana bhoot kar diya, as we say it very graphically. So this is the time that Iran was not keen to intervene, because they were quite cognizant of the fact that if they did, they risked their destruction of their country. Especially if the United States and Israel got together to strike back, it would be the destruction finito.
But that risk still lies. That risk still lies, and it will be there all along. And that is why I'm asking that where do you see this war going now?
Precisely.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was coming to. So Iran had no option now but to hit back.
Right.
Right? And this time they hit back without warning. This time they hit back with 181 ballistic missiles. Farj class ballistic missile,
Right.
some are claiming a large number of which were hypersonic. Now, in theory, no defense system till date can intercept a hypersonic ballistic missile. The Russian Iskandars, the Ukrainians have not been able to intercept them at all.
Right.
They just get through, they just penetrate. So this time, Iran did not give very much early warning. They told the Russians told the Americans that they are going to hit. And they said, we will confine our response to military targets, to Israeli air bases, Nevatim 1 and the Tor 1 near Tel Aviv, and the headquarters of the Mossad in Tel Aviv proper. They hit them. We have seen enough television coverage to see that many of these missiles got through and they impacted. We could see the big explosions taking place. The fact is, one of the missiles hit about 600 meters from the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. But the amazing fact is that despite this, Israel, the air defense was fairly effective and they have shot down a large percentile. They are saying almost all were shot down. Iran is making the diverse opposite claim that 90% got through. Where is the truth? The truth lies somewhere in between. But the fact of the matter is that Israel has said there has been only one casualty. And they had said that the damage to the airfields has been insignificant and that they missed the Mossad headquarters. Then Netanyahu said, Iran has made a big mistake and we will hit back. And now we come to the wargaming part of it.
Right.
Right? Will Israel strike back? For sure.
For sure.
This is the second attack on Israel. April, 320 drones and missiles. This year, now 1st of October, they have hit back with, the Iranians have hit with 181 ballistic missiles, which is actually far more dangerous.
No, so you're saying that there will be a hit back by Israel, and
By
it is
Israel.
for sure.
That's
So do
for
you
sure.
think that the killing of Saifuddin is a retaliation, or there's more to come right now?
There's more to come.
There's more to
because
come.
you have to
So in what
get
form,
back.
sir?
You have to get back at Iran proper. Now, what is the in the military, when we war game, we define the matrix of options.
Right.
What are the options?
What are the options?
For Israel to hit back onto Iran?
Right.
Their priority one target, as far as the Israelis are concerned, what they view as an existential threat is the 5 nuclear facilities, reactors of Iran.
Okay.
Isfahan and the other Natanz, Arak, there are 5 reactor complexes of Iran, most of which are in caves in the mountains, very well dug in, very well protected. And the Russians have just given the S-400, ballistic missile system, anti-ballistic missile system for the protection of this nuclear complex. This would be an existential attack.
Exactly. I was about to come to that. So
This
will
would be-
they take that call?
Existential attack. So the thing is, Joe Biden has said he's ruled it out.
Yes.
He's already said in so many
He's
words.
categorically said
categorically no, because he knows that is an existential strike and Iran will have then no option but to hit back with everything that it really has.
True.
It might hit back on the Dimona Israeli reactor where their nuclear bombs are produced, right? That could, if one of them even hits, that could create a nuclear meltdown, that could create a major disaster scenario. So they're not keen to go to that extent. So what is the next graduated level in the matrix of options? So the next level is that they could hit their petrochemical complexes. These are such easy targets, so inflammable.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. And even one hit could set the entire refinery, the petrochemical complex on fire. So that is the second set of targets. The third set of targets is again command and control. Go for Nasrallah. Go for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters, their leadership, their facilities. You know, this is the kind of target set that I think America would like them to
But that is
settle
something
for.
that they've already been doing. If they want to make a statement now after Iran's attack,
No,
would
they've
there
been-
be
they've been doing it
the
with-
second option, do you think, would...
They've been doing it with intelligence
Right.
strikes. You know, drones attacks or putting some explosives somewhere. It's not a, you know, a full-on kind of a air power kinetic attack.
True.
Kinetic attack, right? So the third set is that they could, the fourth set is they could go in for their ports from where their oil is exported.
Okay, so let me...
Hit the shipping.
So briefing it down for our viewers, when you say that they can and they could target the energy installations in
That's
Iran,
right.
would that would be a big blow to Iran. So
Big blow.
then you see a counter retaliation from Iran
Exactly.
as well. There's going to be no end.
Exactly. That is what the Americans are worried about.
Yes.
Look, don't forget that the Americans, the election is on 5th of November next month.
Yes.
They would like to
is
conclude
a lot at
all this.
stake. There is a
And
lot at
Biden
stake.
has been saying again and again, I want a ceasefire, I want a ceasefire.
Not just him.
He's
Trump's been saying they've not been able to, they've been completely...
You know, but the
they failed.
point at issue is, do we have a lame duck president in Washington? I think we have. We have. I mean, it's as simple as that. He is worried about the chances of re-election of Kamala Harris.
Yes.
The simple fact is that she is relying a lot on the Palestinians and the Arab refugees who have been brought into the United States and who are creating chaos on the campuses.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That they are relying on their vote. But if they are seen as backing Israel to hit Iran in a very major way, well, I mean, you've lost that electoral, constituency. You've also lost the Jews. And they are a powerful political constituency in the United States.
So now that I see
Therefore,
it, the way we see it on a chessboard, sir,
Yeah.
it's not a direct fight. It's a fight between Iran and Israel, but there is a very, very important player called America. So
That's-
they are going to be drawing a lot of those movements on that chessboard.
Precisely. Now let me elaborate that aspect further. The simple fact is, there is the problem of range. The Israeli Air Force is the most powerful Air Force in the Middle East, period. There is no doubt on that particular score. They have knocked the hell out of the Hamas and the Hezbollah. They have even hit the Houthis very hard, right? But they have a problem of range when it comes to Iran. The F-35 fighters, the F-15Es, which can carry the heavy ordnance, will need mid-air refueling if they have to hit targets in Iran in a massive way. And mid-air refueling capabilities are only available with the United States of America. That means the United States of America has said, yes, we are with you as long as it is to cater for your defense. Our Aegis class destroyers have fired 12 Patriot missiles to knock out the Iranian missiles that were coming. But they haven't as yet signed on to helping Israel to attack Iran. And they've ruled out the nuclear facilities.
Right.
I mean, they have said it in so many words. The counterpoint is that with a lame duck president, the Israelis have crossed a series of red lines. Will this be one more red line that will be breached? I am not very sure on that particular aspect. Therefore, what we are likely to see is either an attack on the petrochemical facilities, either on the ports, entry ports, export terminals, or on the headquarters of the IRGC and their primary weapon complexes.
Okay.
Last time, don't forget, they had hit an S-300 battery that was protecting Isfahan nuclear facility, right? So they could again take out these facilities to tell you, look, we could knock them out, but this is just a warning, back off or else. Now
Okay.
the fact of the matter is, like you very rightly pointed out, and I know what you were getting onto, is that the choice of targets will dictate what happens next.
Exactly.
You see,
It wa-
if you hit a target set that is vital to Iran, the simple fact is that
They will hit
Iran
back at a target
has
which is
no
vital to
option but to retaliate.
At
And-
a target which is very vital to Israel.
And it will go for as sensitive a target. So far it has avoided population centers. So far it has focused primarily on military, well away from the site where you can block coverage, and whatever damage may or may not have been inflicted, you can sort of block it. So that is the kind of dilemma that we are seeing Israel face. That is why you find the response has been so delayed. They have to think it through. They have to think of what the retaliatory steps would be, what the escalatory ladder would look like, at what stage, and how can they control that escalation. Escalation control dynamics would be crucial.
There's just one more question that I want to ask you, sir. Khamenei came out on the Friday prayers, and this has been after a period of a full 5 years. He was there and he was addressing, and people from all over Iran came over. But he spoke to the world, and he said, especially to the Muslim countries, and he said that we all need to unite together. Now, do you think that plea really is going to work, especially on Saudi Arabia, on Qatar, and also on UAE? The important players.
Okay. So let's start with his coming out to address the Friday prayers. Reports had come in initially that the moment Nasrallah was hit, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps took away their leader, Khamenei, and put him in a secret facility, protected facilities, etc. And the jibes that were coming out from Israel was he's hiding in a rat hole, and he's gone to hiding when the Hezbollah is taking a hit, the Hamas has been destroyed, etc., etc. I mean, all these taunts were hurled at that. So this seems to have hurt. This is psychological warfare, but it seems to have found the mark. And the 90-year-old leader, he has decided to come out and openly, I don't care for my life, I've lived my life, but I am not scared. If you want to hit me, hit me. He has given that clear kind of a signal to this thing, to Israel and to the world. We are not scared, we are going to retaliate. Should Israel want to take it further, there will be escalation. There will be escalation that would be meaningful. There would be escalation that could create an all-out war in the Middle East. Now, when that all-out war conflict happens, he has called for the Muslim Ummah, the Muslim world, to unite and attack Israel, or to take Israel to task. A same call had been made by Erdogan. There are so many people trying to be khalifas in the Muslim world.
Yes.
Erdogan of Turkey has also asked in July the whole Islamic Ummah to unite against Israel, right? And then just recently he's made the call, let whole of humanity unite against Israel, whom he has tried to dub as Nazi criminals, war criminals, etc., etc., right? But so far it is just hot air signifying nothing. And even in the Arab camp, you are absolutely right, Sucharita. Absolutely right when you say that the Saudis, they are not happy to see Iran rule the roost. Iran become the leader of the Khalifa, new Khalifa of the Muslim Ummah. It was supposed to be the Mecca, the holy sites are in Saudi Arabia. They would not like to be overtaken like this. There is that Sunni Shia cleavage which the Chinese had tried to smoothen over. But how much of that has worked, the Chinese mediation to bring Iran and Saudi Arabia together, remains to be seen, right? The problem is the Arab street. Jordan may not want to at all, would want to support Israel, would want to go against Iran. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, they have given bases to the Americans, right? So these countries may not at all want to go against Israel. But the fact of the matter is what they have to worry. Egypt may not want to go against Israel. They have to worry about the Arab street, what's going to happen there. So that also the world will have to wait and watch which way this conflict goes. But we are now poised at a very delicate stage. Israel, kudos to Israel. They have knocked out the Hamas. They have dealt a death blow to Hezbollah. They have dealt blows to the Houthis, which are fairly severe, right? They are now trying to take on what they feel is the real source of this problem, which is Iran, as per them, right? And they are saying it's an existential conflict between us and them, and this strike gives us a golden opportunity to hit back. Now the point is, the dilemma is, if they hit back, they have to be very careful about what they hit and how. What they hit and how. And if they hit something and it succeeds very well, much better than what the Iranian attacks have been onto the Israeli target sets, then you have the problem of uncontrolled escalation which could go anywhere.
So this
And no, I'll just add one last thing. Something which we haven't at all looked at. China, Taiwan, Philippines, South China Sea.
Right.
Would China like to take advantage of the Americans being bogged down in Russia, Ukraine, in the Middle East? And now, with the elections coming, is this an opportune time for the Chinese to blockade Taiwan? Is it an opportune time for them to hit the Philippines and try and teach it a lesson for accepting American air bases? And if that happens, you have World War III.
So it's not just about Israel and Iran, it's going to be panning out to the entire world, a larger section of the world. And as you're saying, that there will be opportunities that will be looked at by other countries, especially China. Especially China. So this escalation will have a lot of reflecting points. It is not going to be just between the two countries, as General GD Bakshi puts it. Thank you so much, sir.